Hello, and welcome to Advanced SaaS Metrics series. Today, we're going to be talking about one particular problem that sits within your CRM, and most possibly, if you are in SaaS business for at least a couple of years, you have it. And the problem that I'm talking about is the leads discrimination. What is leads discrimination? Not all leads are created equal, unfortunately, and you might have hotter leads, more preferable leads within your CRM, within your lead flow than the others. Why it can be causing you problems? Over time, you might be building up a pattern, a way to treat leads by certain criteria, and over time, you might accumulate a cohort, a portion of leads within your CRM that will be discriminated. They will become your kind of second-class citizens, and nobody's going to be looking into them in a way that you will address kind of more preferable leads. What it means is that you might be overlooking the lead's potential, and the more discrimination you apply within your CRM to the lead that you have, the more momentum you're actually losing. So how do we address the leads discrimination? So first of all, we need to identify whether we have that problem or not. How to do that? You can take all the leads that you currently have within your system and run two quick reports. One would be the sales cycle report. That's pretty much standard. Every CRM has it. And what you would like to see is how long leads typically stay within your sales cycle stages, one by one. And what you are particularly looking for is the outliers, the leads that stay in the sales cycle stages too short or too long. We will need the latter. So we will need the leads that stay in sales cycle for way too long. We would need to take a look at into that kind of particular segment of your CRM data to identify what's causing those leads to stay that long in those sales cycle stages. The second thing that you need to look at is the sales activity report. And there you would like to identify the leads that had no sales activity over the past 45 to 90 days. It really depends on the sales cycle. For B2B SaaS projects where you have like longer sales cycle, you might want to look at the kind of slightly wider window. You might want to take the leads that did not have any sales activity over like last 120 days, for example. So when you have those two segments, the leads that stay too long in the sales cycle stages and the leads that had no activity for quite a period of time, you can start identifying the patterns within those two groups. So what you can see there is how the timing varies by salesperson, by lead source, by any other criteria that you see fit within your CRM. The key idea is to find a pattern that will give you a clear identification which portion of your leads is being discriminated on a regular basis, from which source, from which channel, by whom within your sales team, and so on. What you can actually find in there is also the automation rules that sit within your CRM system and prevent certain leads from being displayed on the radar of the salespeople as the really good ones. We saw three key things that happen after those kind of reports are being run. If you do have the problem of the second-class leads, like discriminated leads within your organization, you might want to implement a few steps to stop this happening to your good leads, to stop discriminating your leads. One of the steps that you can definitely do is to review sales cycle stages and set up the alerts within the CRM system where you will have the automated reports, notifications, triggers when something is taking too much time. When the lead sits in a sales cycle stage for way too long, you need to be on alert. You need to see those leads to investigate what's actually happening to them. The second thing that we saw as an outcome of those kind of quick reports analysis is the discussion of the standards. What we consider normal. What is the normal length for that particular sales cycle stage? What is a normal window for lead to sit there without an activity? And by benchmarking different cohorts of leads within your CRM, you might want to figure out slightly different approaches, slightly different standards that you apply to certain leads groups by source, by type of organization you're talking to, and so on. The third and one of the most important outcomes that we also saw happening after this lead discrimination analysis is being run within your organization's CRM system is the direct application to your marketing spend. So if you identify the criteria of how certain portion of your leads becomes discriminated, you can take a look at the lead sources and have a really good conversation about your marketing budget with your marketing team or agency, whatever you're using, to run the paid ads and to administer the budget, about how you would potentially like to reallocate the budget to spend less effort and less money on the groups of leads that are likely to be discriminated. We saw this really effective when we identified that certain leads were not treated the same way by salespeople, like, for example, the paid leads in the particular case. They were causing some trouble because they were of lower quality, and eventually salespeople stopped looking into them the way they look at the leads that, for example, they generate from outbound marketing activities. So the moment we identified the root cause of the problem, that the leads from the certain source were not treated equally by the sales team, we quickly identified why that was happening, and in our case, that was a combination of the source quality and the kind of historical pattern within the sales cycle for that particular types of leads. And we made a few really good decisions on relocating the marketing budgets and implementing a different set of standards for treating the leads. And we set up the automated triggers to notify everyone that a lead had no activity or the lead is taken too long on a certain sales cycle stage. And as a end result, we greatly sped up the process, like the sales cycle. It actually became shorter. And we applied a really good amount of optimizations to the paid campaigns based on this data. And we made sure that those leads were no longer discriminated. I hope this quick lead discrimination video is useful. We will be blogging more about the advanced SaaS metrics. This is one of the ways of us to share our knowledge that we gain through working with the number of SaaS businesses. And actually, like this, those metrics will evolve around both sales and marketing activity. They usually sit in between. And I really hope you find it useful. So stay tuned. Thank you very much.